All right. What is up? What's going on, everyone? So we wanted to get everyone all together here. One of the things that we obviously want to be able to do is start to bring you guys some cool projects as well, and some whitelist allocations for everyone. We know that that's one of the main focus. Not only do we want to be doing liquidity pools, some of you guys are focusing on NFTs. And really just want to be able to find some cool projects. And we actually had some of the monk whales who actually brought this project to us. And after speaking with them and speaking to a few other groups that have kind of worked with them, we figured it would be a good fit to kind of jump out with you guys and kind of give you guys this feel and let you guys get to know the team, get to know the project, and kind of see what everything's all about as in regards to BloodShed Bears. So I wanted to bring out the team. We got Parker Smith and we got Matt here, who are two of the founders of BloodShed Bears. Anything, Josh or Chinter, do we want to go into beforehand before we want, or do we want to just dive right in? What we're looking at for today, we are going to have basically Matt and Parker. We're going to go over the team kind of intros and backgrounds. One of the things that I want you guys to get familiar with and to start looking at is really getting to know the team. It's one of the things that I focus on a lot. I bet a lot on people, not just in crypto, but in just businesses and in general. I bet a lot on people. So one of the main focuses that we definitely want to check out the team, the backgrounds, reason for creating the project mechanics, and long-term vision for the project, sustainability, and differentiating factors for success. And then by the end, we will go over some questions. And then we have some whitelist spot allocations, and we'll get into the details of those based on roles near the end of the call today. With that being said, Josh, anything you want to touch on before we dive in?
No, well said. Looking forward to starting this AMA.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that being said, Parker or Matt, I don't know which one of you guys want to kick it off, but welcome to the temple. What grateful to have you guys with us.
Hey guys, it's awesome to be here. Sorry I was a little quiet when we jumped in. I'm in another Discord server that unfortunately just got one of our admins lost control of his account, got hacked, and the whole server just got completely shut down. Everyone got banned. So it's be safe out there. I know you guys are veterans in the space, but you can never be too safe. But I'm locked in now. We're really happy to be here. We First, I want to say that I actually found this community organically through a friend of mine. Told me to scoop up some monks. I have two. I was looking to get a third one when the floor was at about zero point 0.1. And then the next morning I woke up and it was up to 0.35 or something like that. So still looking for my third one, just waiting for a nice one that I see around the floor. So first, just wanted to give a shout out to you guys, your project, everything you guys have going on here. So I'm a big fan. The person who put me onto the project is a really smart guy. So that was enough for me. And then when I looked into it more, I was really happy with what I saw. So thanks for having us here today. We're excited to be in front of the community, hopefully share with you guys what we've got going on and pull the same level of interest back towards our community. And I'll just start by giving a little background on myself. So Matt and I, along with our two developers and artists, are the founders of the BloodShed Bears. Matt is the OG founder. I'm a little bit newer to the team, so I, new is a relative term, but I came onto the team with a lot of experience in the Web3 industry. I've been invested in crypto since 2017. I've been trading full time for a little over a year, although I haven't been trading at all over the last few months, just focused on this project and on other things in the NFT industry. I've been a part of several successful launches already. My first project was the Chilling Chameleons, which was a profile pic collection focused on charitable giveback and ocean conservation. I then moved into a few other projects as an advisor until Matt found me and was like, pitched me on this play to earn game that he had and the ecosystem he wanted to create and everything. And it blew me away. And I was like, this is another project that I would love to stick the founder tag on. And we just went to work from there. So we rebranded really the whole project when I came on board at the very end of December and started to actually market the project and build the Discord and start to get things active and engaging in the first week of January. So we've been, just kind of chugging along ever since. And honestly, all of our growth has been organic thus far and through relationships with amazing people and projects like we've got right here. And we're really excited to share with you guys a lot more information. My background from a professional sense, my education is in biomedical engineering and then computer science, or specifically blockchain. And then uh, in terms of from a business side, we think of NFT projects as companies, right? You're investing not just in a piece of art, but you're investing in the people running the project. You're buying, fractional shares, I guess, of a company. And my business background, I've been an entrepreneurial person my whole life. I started my own clothing brand when I was younger. I told someone on the call earlier that I feel like I've been, selling things or in the entrepreneurial world since I was flipping packs of gum in middle school when I was 12 years old. So I have a very large entrepreneurial spirit, a love for the industry and for creating community and relationships and just building on, the most beautiful foundation that we can, which is just a mutual love and respect for our fellow community members. And it's how we build the strongest projects that will actually, stand the test of time. So I'll turn the mic over here to Matt, let him introduce himself, and then we'll get going on, more information about the project and everything that we have going on behind the scenes right now.
Thanks, Parker. Morning, everyone from the future. We're just sort of laughing about that. I'm over in Australia, so it's Saturday for me. I just want to echo Parker's sentiments around the Monkz project, if I can first. Sometimes you get exposed to projects and you sort of stick around for a bit just to figure out, is there something here or not? And honestly, like jumping in and having a chat to the founding team here on a couple of calls prior to this AMA, I'm just sort of enamored with the community and the vibe here. So regardless, I'll be sticking around and probably look to grab myself a couple as well. In terms of my background, so I have my professional careers in professional services. I've worked for, managed, led, grown and owned professional services companies in 4 different countries now. I've lived in the UK, Australia, Hong Kong, San Francisco, all doing that. I moved from Hong Kong to San Francisco, launching a tech startup, which was a SaaS platform related to the recruitment sector, and then moved back to Oz during the pandemic. We had a new little boy and we wanted him to meet family and so forth, so we moved back to Australia. So my background's principally business, you could call it. I got into crypto quite a long time ago. I couldn't give you the year specifically, but it's been something that you dabble in. I love technology. I always like to be an early adopter in anything, so naturally I jumped in. I have to admit my introduction to NFTs was a little bit staged. I first heard about NFTs when Mark Cuban was tweeting about OpenSea, and I jumped on and couldn't really figure out what was going on, to be honest. And then it tapered off at that point, and then the buzz kept growing and growing, and I looked at the underlying technology of what it actually is, and was just blown away and thought, hey, I've got to be involved in this somehow. Aped into about 60 different projects, made some terrible decisions, and was very fortunate to pick up some great projects and learn about how you build communities that way. And that sort of really set us on the journey. Decided I had to apply and would love to apply my business background and business thinking to an NFT project, because as Parker said, these are businesses. A lot of people don't realize that when they're investing. You're investing in founders that are able to take an initial raise, a seed round or an angel round or whatever it is, from selling of NFTs and turn that into something that's long term. So that was the reason to sort of jump in and apply that logic, and started off with initially a PFP project, realized that there's a lot more we can do with the utility of NFTs and the different tokens, the M55s, 721s, and obviously the ERC20s. So planned what is BloodShed Bears and the vision for the project and got going. And yeah, as Parker mentioned, we crossed paths, and I was looking for someone to support what we were doing, and he was motivated with a great amount of experience, and it just made a lot of sense. So joined teams. Our developers are awesome. They've also had 2 previous sellouts, very experienced in building our ecosystems across different tokens. They're the developers from Angry Boars as well as Humans of the Metaverse. So we've got great pedigree there. And our artist is just incredible. I mean, the art speaks for itself when we're talking about art, but she's also a super awesome person too. So that's sort of the background and my background, I guess, and the reason why we started BloodShed and sort of where we got to today. But yeah, I'll hand it back over to the team, and we can sort of go through, I guess, the structure and maybe talk a bit more about the project.
So real quick, I heard you say you were coming in from Hong Kong, right? When did you come back from Hong Kong? You were building SaaS software? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so I left. I'm a bit older and I've got a few grey hairs, so I forget the timeline sometimes.
Me too. It's all good. No worries there.
So I was born in Oz, and then when I was a little baby, still moved back to the UK. I was there for about 21 years. Then went to Oz again, growing businesses, and the company I was with asked me to go and set up a regional office for Asia. So I moved to Hong Kong. I was there for about 4 years. My wife knows dates to literally to the day. I wish she was here to help me out. To help me out here. So I was there for 4 years. 2 years into growing their company, I guess I've always been someone that doesn't like authority too much. So I needed to do my own thing. So I moved on from there and started my own similar company in Hong Kong. And then I've always loved technology. I mean, I'm not a developer, but I think in another life I would have been. Because I just love playing with code and those sorts of things, not to the standard of professional developers, but more as a hobby. So thought, let's jump in. There's a need for something specific in the recruitment sector. So we built a SaaS platform from Hong Kong, and then we launched that into San Francisco. And I was there in San Fran for about 2 years. Wanted to be there longer, but yeah, sorry?
I just kidding. Yeah, no, yeah. Going from Hong Kong to San Francisco, it's a unique little spot too.
Oh, I love them both. I mean, they were all at amazing junctures for us. Like we had a kid right after Hong Kong, and I wouldn't have wanted to do all the hill climbs in Hong Kong with a little baby in a pram, right? So if you've been, you know what I'm talking about. I mean,
San Francisco's the same way too, but yeah, dude. Yeah,
it's true.
Oh, man,
it's true.
That's funny.
So yeah, we moved there, and oh man, honestly, I love the States. I'll be back for sure. Back for sure.
I'll be glad to have you back. Yeah, we're in transition. Are we talking about the project? You guys want to talk a little bit more about it, or are we doing AMA? Are we going to take questions?
Well, yeah, let's definitely get it. Now that we know a little bit about backgrounds, let's definitely hear a little bit more about BloodShed Bears and the whole structure of it and how that all looks.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So it's a multiple collection play to earn ecosystem, essentially. So I'll sort of talk about what's dropping on the 21st, and then obviously what the vision is. So we're a little bit ahead of the roadmap, fortunately, in terms of the drop. So we've got, I'll take one step back. We launched the MetaPass, I think about 3 weeks ago now. So that's something that we wanted to do for the community, super small collection, and just pack it full of utility and value. The ability to obviously yield from that, early access to everything that we do from here moving forward. And that sold out pretty quickly, and we've got really good volume on that. There's only 500 pieces, and I think we're sitting 113 or 14 ETH in volume, probably higher now. That was sort of in advance of all of the work that we're going to be doing for the 21st. So what we're going to be dropping is the Gen 0 BloodShed Bears collection. We'll be dropping the treehouse, and we'll be dropping the token generator, and then we'll be dropping Gen 1, which is the reinforcements. And I'll sort of talk about all of those. So what we've done is we spent a bit of time, because we had some time to sort of look at the innovations and decide, hey, look, this is the direction we're going to go. What are other projects doing really, really well? And also, where are the challenges that they've faced? So, we won't pretend to have created play to earn, because naturally we didn't, but we can definitely look at innovations and go, well, these things work really well independently for that project. What if we combine them all into a single project, and what does that mean? And then we sort of thought about, okay, well, when we build something like this, what we can't afford and what we don't want is something that loses interest or has bottlenecks like in 2 or 3 months' time. So then how do we apply some business logic to the plan here? So what we then decided on is multiple collection drop that interact with each other, and also an ERC20 that allows us to include additional collections in the future, allows us to even include and work with other projects specifically in the future. So the contract's been designed in that way. We've got staking, which is not a new principle. Obviously, that's been done a lot now. What's new to us that's fairly innovative is stacking. So we've got a specific NFT called the Treehouse, and it's got a meta trait called size that when you stack other collections inside it, you get a multiplier in terms of your yields. Stacking, we've got upgradable meta. So all of our tokens, barring the MetaPass, I should say NFT, all of our NFTs barring the MetaPass have upgradable metadata. So what that allows us to do is, or allowed us to do, is incorporate a level trait. We use that level trait for 2 reasons. One, you can upgrade that through purchases in our marketplace or by staking and increase your level. The level then increases your yield, but the level also reduces or mitigates your risk. So we do have risk play baked into the game in different actions. Not every action has risk attached to it, but there are riskier moves. So if you go into battle mode, for example, you've got a higher yield opportunity, but naturally there's a bit more risk. So we've got risk play. We've also got something that's really unique to us, which is the faction wars. Well, it's not super unique. I know you guys do that as well with your DAO. But we've got our faction wars that are core to our Discord and how fun that is. We have the 2 different factions competing against each other for our BLD token within the Discord. We also will leverage factions for seasons every month or every quarter for major prize pools, and we'll have each individual faction that is baked into the metadata compete with each other as you're staking and those sorts of things. And then we've got our marketplace, which is super core to us being able to I guess, collaborate in the future with other projects, but also continually re-engage holders and community members and investors in our project. We'll be able to distribute, buffs for the game, or new items, or new NFTs, or mutation bowls, whatever it is we come up with, because we've got metadata that's upgradable. We've got a lot of flexibility in the future in terms of what we can do. In addition, we're going to bring in projects from outside of our ecosystem. So all of a sudden, our BLD token, which you yield in the game, can be used to buy into, maybe, in collaboration with the Monkz, for example, we have a few Monkz that we can offer to our community that they can buy with BLD. We can offer whitelist spots. We can do all sorts of things because the marketplace will allow the utilization of our BLD token, not specific to the game, but also in other items. So it lowers, if you will, the barrier to entry for players or investors in NFTs of all levels to actually, be rewarded by yielding our native BLD token. So the vision's long. The first drop is, as I mentioned, on the 21st. That'll be all 4 collections. It is going to be a staged drop, but we're ahead of schedule around that. And then moving forward from there, we'll be opening up the new areas of the map. So we've got another 4 areas that aren't open yet that will be opened. We've got the leaderboards, and we've got the official faction wars for the actual game will be launched straight after that. And then we've got a surprise collection drop that will come once the community is stabilized and on the right trajectory. So A lot of words and content there, but if Parker wanted to add anything that I've missed, or if the team wanted to fire some questions at me before I continue to rabbit on, please do so.
Yeah, Matt, I'll jump in and just say, I think, one of the most interesting things that we also offer, and it's not specific to the gameplay, but is, happens outside of the game, and it's in our Discord. The faction wars that we run, we have a gamified Discord. We have BLD tokens within the Discord server, and we use this really to keep people engaged. And one really nice thing that I've found is that having it separate from the game doesn't require people to continuously engage within the server in order to progress in the game, or continue to accumulate their tokens or make money playing the game, but rather it allows those that really want to delegate more time to the community to be able to receive extra benefits, or you know get access to more perks, more things like that, if they desire to, but it doesn't require that anyone does it. We have a lot of our members are kind of alpha group people, I guess you would say, like from communities like this. They hear about us, they do their research, and they invest in, but they don't have a lot of time to just like spend grinding in the Discord and doing things like that. Rather, they're spending their time learning about new projects or finding the next project they want to invest in. So I think a really nice implementation within our game is the ability for you to be as playable and interactive as you'd like outside of the server, continue to earn, continue to receive perks that can benefit you within the game, but the game itself is still passive play. And down the line, as Matt iterated really well, we've really tried to design everything so that there's no bottlenecks. We can continue to expand and change and meet the ever demanding needs of the NFT industry. If you are too set in your ways, you just won't make it in this industry. You have to be able to continue to adapt and change as the times change. But the foundation that we've built is really, really strong, and it will be able to flex and bend with the industry as it changes. And I think Matt really captured all the main points, all the differentiating factors that we have, as we really want to make sure people understand we're not just another fork of Wolf game or another risk play staking application where you're going to stake and earn a coin that has no inherent value. We've really designed the game to reward people for reinvesting their profits. We've designed the game to allow people to take profits within the game ecosystem without having to cash out large quantities of BLD, right? If you can purchase a whitelist spot, or you can purchase an NFT from an outside collection within the game, you're essentially taking profits and diversifying your portfolio from there without needing to dump the token, affect the token price negatively. And long term, Matt and I are really focused on building this so that the token price, the floor price of the NFTs, things like that just become irrelevant. They don't even become a topic of conversation. It's really just about, one bear is one bear, one BLD is one BLD. All the applications that you would need for it will be within the game. You can buy other NFTs, you can get whitelist spots, you can get access to all these partnerships, do all of this stuff without really ever needing to pull much out from within the game. And you'll continue to be able to expand without needing to pay a lot of transaction fees, all the conversion fees for using Uniswap, for doing things like this. We want to streamline the experience as much as possible for the gameplay and make it as rewarding as possible for the community members to just continue to play the game and reinvest.
Man, there's a lot of correlations here. How long did it took us forever to figure out what direction we wanted to head. And you guys have kind of seen probably the same thing happening around the NFT space, which it's evolving really, really quickly. But how did you guys come up with the idea about it? And what kind of drove you into that direction of kind of being like us? Like, we're a feudalistic DAO is what we call ourselves. But you guys have factions too. What was that thought process behind it? And was there any kind of like economics that came to mind when you guys were building this?
I know Matt can probably answer a little bit better on this, but I do want to say that to reiterate what you were just saying, yeah, this has been definitely a long process of adapting and changing and planning things a certain way and having to go back and alter things another way. So it's
Did you
definitely
guys have a
been.
problem? Yeah, did you guys run into that same problem where like the whole space changes so quick and you're just like, shit, we got to adapt, we got to change. Like it's tough to get these things. These are big projects, right? It's tough to get them out. It's
Yeah,
really
no,
tough, right?
it definitely is. And Matt's been obviously here from day one, so I'll let him kind of talk about how he thought of the faction wars ideas and things like that. But originally, the project had a completely different look to it, if I'm not mistaken. And we've really tried to focus on having original features and having unique things that really make the project stand out and give us an innate value beyond just, oh, buy this NFT, stake it, earn this token, and hopefully you make money. So I'll leave it to Matt to explain more as how he really came up with the original concept, but that's really been the driving force behind a lot of the changes that we've even made in the last couple of weeks. Matt messages me every day, I swear. He's like, "Oh, we can do this. We can do this with the contractor. We can do this, slightly different, and we'll save people a transaction fee here, or we'll save them on gas here, or we'll be able to, you know, optimize this,
all,
optimize that." It's every day. It's crazy.
all of
Matt
those
is
same, yeah,
really.
all of those same conversations happen here, dude. Oh man, it's brutal. It is freaking brutal. But yeah, Matt, yeah, just would love to hear about that because I know it took a lot of effort for us to get just even the initial idea down. But I would love to hear about that and what the thought process was.
I'll just say one thing. I think I'm probably the least liked person by our developers at the moment because of the amount of I've been back and forth with them this morning already, and they're like, we're already on a tight deadline. Can you stop trying to add stuff? So yeah, we need to do a code freeze at some point. I think look, the easiest thing, and maybe it's because of my background, and look, it's certainly a value add. It's part of just who I am, but it's a value add being in SaaS world, and especially San Francisco, when really you're successful by listening, and that's the easiest part. A lot of people find it difficult, but I personally think it's the easiest part because I've been in sales for a long time, so I have the thickest skin that you could imagine. And hearing feedback, I actually don't really like good feedback that much because it doesn't really add value to the project. It's sort of vanity feedback, if you will. I want people to tell me what we're doing wrong, right? Because we can't fix anything unless we hear and know what we're doing wrong.
Critical feedback, right? Yeah, the critical feedback, right?
We don't want people. Exactly, we don't want people just outright attacking us or anything like that. But certainly people that have got experience and exposure, and I'm blessed with the grind that I've come across some really great people that for no return in value are just willing to share information, right? And I listen to those individuals super attentively, and I learn and we adapt based on information from people that are at that point in time were way more ingrained in the sector than me. So, look, I mean, we started, as Barker mentioned, with a straight PFP project. It was actually based on a mythical Australian variant of a koala called a drop bear. If you're a tourist to Australia, then most Aussies will tell you to watch out for the drop bears, and they say they're basically aggressive koalas that will jump at you from trees. So they're not real, but I thought that it's a really cool concept because of the drop aspect and so forth. And that's where we started, and it just took a lot of listening and learning to realize that there's more we can do with NFTs. The actual contracts themselves, there's multiple different contracts that you can do different things. You can fractionalize it 1155s to have low gas and all these sorts of cool stuff that you can do. And then just listening and watching. And then, when we launched or started to build the community, that was really when Ethereum, skyrocketed up to 6,000. And so we were trying to build a project in, I know NFTs haven't been around for that long, but probably one of the hardest markets to get any traction of a new project unless you're a recognized name. So we had to adapt. We had no option but to grind and find where the industry is going and find value. And game concepts like factions. I mean, I'm an old school gamer, so you'd have with World of Warcraft, you would have the different factions, right?
Yeah.
With Red Alert, you've got allies and Soviets.
Command and Conquer, yeah.
Exactly. So that was an obvious thing for me to think, hey, look, this is cool. How do we do it? And then conversations, days on end with the developers to figure out how we make that work, and then we decided on building out a proof of concept. So we introduced faction wars into the Discord before we even had developed the contracts, and it just took off, and people took hold of the naming. So we started off with placeholder names, right? So we had LFG and WGMI as the placeholder names for the factions, and honestly, if I can be fully transparent here, it was a time poor situation to think of anything else. But the community just took hold of those names, and now that's what everyone says, right? We see it on Twitter, we see it in the Discord, and it's very industry centric. So we're super happy with those, and that's what's going to be baked into the contract. And now everyone competes for BLD, and we've got Royal Rumble games, and we've got live streams on Twitch for marbles, and everything's centered around friendly competition, and we have side bets, coin flips, and it's just super fun. And that cemented in our mind that this is the path forward, and now it's a case of making sure we implement that in the actual game and make sure that the two can interact as seamlessly as the players want. And Parker articulated this perfectly, that we want the barrier to entry to be reasonably low. You don't have to grind away in the Discord. You could just participate in the actual NFT game, or you could play both and receive benefits from both. It's, we want to build this system, this ecosystem that transcends on-chain gameplay to, internal and external ecosystems. And Faction Wars works for us in that regard. It's a great way to engage communities, but it opens up so many opportunities in the actual game to have these huge events that we can run every season, every quarter, huge prize pools that we could, pull from royalties and award communities for playing and participating. And, where this is something we haven't even announced, we're going to, unless I'm mistaken, I have to catch up with the developers today again, but we're going to actually implement like a diamond hand bonus. So if you hold certain tokens for a certain period of time, you're going to get a bonus for doing that, right? So we want to reward participation and engagement, and so we can constantly looking at items like that. But I hope it answered the question around the faction wars. I mean, it's an iterative process. We'll constantly learn, and we'll constantly take feedback from everyone at every angle. Some's better than others, as you sort of alluded to earlier, but it's the only way we can adapt is to learn from everyone, to learn from the community. We can't possibly do it on our own. So that's how we'll continue to adapt.
I don't mean to grandstand with the questions, but I got a couple. I don't want to be technical because I know you guys aren't the tech guys on here, but what kind of contract are you guys building on? Are you guys building on a ERC 721 or the ERC 1155? Have you settled on one yet?
Yeah, the MetaPass is 1155. It's great for optimization and gas.
That's what ours is.
but there are, and you guys probably experience this too. It's to reduce gas, you're essentially fractionalizing an NFT, right? So for us to have the bottleneck, the reduction of bottleneck, we had to use the 721 on the main ecosystem. So the BloodShed bears, the tree houses, the token generators, and probably most things moving forward. Maybe not simplistic buffs, right? So if you just hold a mutant vial, or if we give 500 vials to the MetaPass holders, for example, which we'll do those sorts of things to reward them. They might be 1155s. Yeah. But if you want logic built in, they've got to be, at this point in time anyway, if you want logic, or more complex logic, 721s are sort of where we have to be at the moment.
Yeah. Well, that's cool that you guys are definitely trying to mitigate gas costs. We spent a lot of time doing the same thing. I would say we've got the ERC 1155 suite of tools if you guys ever want to take a look. But yeah, we went through the same thing. It was a really exciting mint. We went through an upgradable contract too. So that's why I asked. It's good to see that you guys are using that token standard because it is the best. It is by far the best. I know, like, it's, we engineered our stuff here, but one other question was, how did you guys meet?
Parker and I. This is an interesting one. This is a really cool one, actually. So I've made 2 great connections. So three really cool things have happened to me through scammers. So this is a really cool this is a really cool topic. So I'll talk about the third one, but I'll first talk about Parker and the other connection I made. So as we were growing the project and grinding it out, and so I guess the founding team was the developers and myself and Mel the artist, but obviously myself leading growth and all those sorts of areas. Every so often you'd get a DM, right? And someone would say, hey, I've got the best offer in the world for you. And I had DMs open for a long period of time because there was actually genuine people reaching out, looking to help and make connections and so forth. And this one guy reached out. He had a marketing brand. He had a big fancy graphic talking about all the different packages and plans and all of the different projects that he's worked with and helped them sell out and so forth. And there was 2 projects on that list. One was the Chameleons that Parker's a part of, and another one was a UK brand by an incredible artist. I forget the name, unfortunately. He's on my Instagram. And so I did my due diligence, obviously, and I reached out to one of the team, a couple of the team members actually of Chameleons and the artist from the other project, and said, hey, look, this guy's reached out. Are you working with him? Did you actually spend this money? Is he, did he help you guys sell out? Are they a good marketing company to help us and those sorts of things? And it turned out to be a complete scammer. Didn't work with any of the companies he said he did, but it was Oscar actually from the Chameleons. And I had a great chat with Oscar on a call, and we had a bit of back and forth, and then there was conversations going on with the Chameleons, and then Parker I think was sort of made aware of us at that point, and Parker and I sort of connected and had a few conversations, and that's that. So we moved forward from there. So essentially the scammer brought Parker and I together. The other really cool one, and I'll say this very quickly, someone was trying to get me to buy a floor crypto dick butt. Which is the craziest NFT. There was no liquidity in that project, right? There were Have you seen it?
I've seen them. It's just funny you said there's no liquidity in the dick butts, but yeah, I totally feel it. Yeah, so it's all good. Don't worry.
He was trying to get me to buy a floor, which was his, right? And I jumped in and had a look at. I had a look at all of these wallet and figured out that this guy is not he wasn't necessarily a scammer, but he was obviously trying to sell his NFT. So I just jumped. I wasn't a complete amateur at that point. I jumped onto Rarity Tools. I managed to find a 500 Rarity crypto dick butt for like 0.17 or something like that. And I just said to him, "Hey, look, thanks for alerting me to this project. It's interesting. It's weird, but it's interesting. I just bought this really rare one. I can't believe it." And now, like it's an ape squid nose, and there's only one of them, and their floor is like 1.4 or 5 or something at the moment, and squid noses are like 5 ETH. So again, a scammer alerted me to another great project to be in. So that's how we met, and now I should keep my DMs open because these seem to be the best opportunities. But that's how we met.
That is hilarious, by the way. I had to mute myself because I was cracking up when you said that. I'm trying to drink my coffee, but that's freaking hilarious. And I just want to say something else too. We're coming into a time that's actually late in the NFT game, believe it or not, right? And we knew that when we were starting ours, that we would be probably encountering a whole culture of people who had been rugged or had issues. And what we found was that it wasn't so much the projects, it was the communities that we were after, right? And so I'm excited to see now that we're in this position and this phase, and the way that we look at the metaverse is really just kind of, I want to say, absorbing other communities, right? You guys are coming into this right at the right time as well. And so what we've done is we've made friends with a lot of the people who took over communities after they fell, or they just couldn't follow through with all the plans that they had, or a lot of them even got rugged, right? But we see this as being probably one of the things that's going to build communities of value here. And, these organizations themselves will grow to be pretty much limitless. That's the idea of a decentralized autonomous organization, or DAO, right? But it's to bring other projects into our metaverse, or have our characters go into your metaverse, right? So, do you guys have any plans of working with other projects instinctively to bring them into the into the Bears universe? Is that what you guys are thinking, or is it more along the lines of like active collaboration, active artwork collabs, story collabs? Like, what are you guys looking for?
Yeah, it's all of the above, essentially. I mean, that's one of the core reasons we wanted to design the ERC20 to allow us to not only incorporate our own collections, but if we wanted to, we could incorporate other collections, and they could also participate in earning our BLD token. So that's core to that. It's also core to the marketplace vision, in that we could just do straight up whitelist collaborations. There's an emerging trend around marketplaces to use native tokens to get access to projects. There's art collabs that we could do, and then we could put those into the marketplace so that holders of our tokens can then go and spend their in-game token on collaborations or unique NFTs with great artists. That's sort of they're the two core, I guess, debottlenecking plans that we've already implemented and we are implementing to make sure that when opportunities come along, like with you guys, and I love that you mentioned that concept of people coming in and taking over other projects, because I think that's a great initiative that will continue to go. Because I think a lot of those communities deserve it too. Like, I've been in a few. It may not even be rugs. I mean, it may just be a team that couldn't deliver, right? And
it's stagnant.
That's cool.
They just freeze, right? Like, a lot of people don't realize how tough this stuff actually is, too.
It's brutal.
Grueling.
Brutal. It is brutal. There's been many a nights where I've been sitting there with my wife going, "Wow, I chose another hard thing to do."
I know. It looks so much easier from the outside.
Do you know what? It's the overnight success theory, right? I mean, should we be successful? And I'm sure we will. People will look at us and go, "Oh, you guys, you blew up overnight." I didn't feel that way 5 months ago. That's for sure.
I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but the most memorable points of all of this, at least in our experience, have been the most stressful ones too. It's just, I don't know how to say it. Like, you can be proud of all that hard work, right? That's important. We've got some questions from question from Keeper of the Coin here, and then also I just wanted to make sure you guys know the AMA questions channel is open. If you guys want to ask questions for BSB here, this is for BloodShed. Oh, okay, question gone. No worries. Usually that happens. People will get stage fright, or they just forget that they even had the question thing up. But let's see here. I'm gonna hop over to AMA, see if you guys have any questions coming in. In the meantime, so what does the factionizing look like? What factions do you guys have, and what's the benefit of being in a faction?
Yeah, so I'll take this one. First, you have the in-game factions. So the in-game factions are determined by traits within your NFTs. You don't choose them; you're assigned them as you mint.
Yep.
Whereas, there's not really, I guess, not necessarily a benefit to it in that sense, as just every NFT has their own faction. It's your decision what part of the gameplay you choose to take part in, and how you choose to utilize the different modes of the game to maximize your success. So there's strategy involved there. But then within the Discord, we have the same two factions, which are actually WAGMI, or WGMI, and LFG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's got it here. WAGMI and LFG. Let's go.
Yep. Those are our two factions. And the factions within the Discord, the benefit of having that is you're actually able to start earning the native tokens. So if you do not have the native token of the Discord, I do want to clarify that, just because
of course,
we use the same name, but they are not obviously the same thing. They're not one for one. So you're allowed to participate in faction wars. You can participate in game night events, Twitter raids. There's a whole bunch, Royal Rumble, dueling, all these different things that we have where you can earn BLD, and you earn them. You can only start earning them once you have a faction. Now, furthermore, within the actual game and in the Discord, the factions have tiers within them. So in the Discord, for example, you start at apprentice, you go up to cadet, then private, then general, and then the top tier is the elite. And as you rank up within the Discord, which can be done through leveling, through invites, there's several different ways you can achieve rank ups. But as you level up through the stages, you actually develop a BLD multiplier. So if you were tier 3, a private, you would have a 3x multiplier on all the BLD that you win from wars, game nights, etc. So if you and I were both to win a $500 prize from a war,
Yeah.
I'd win 1,500 as opposed to the 500 that the apprentice from my faction would win, and that helps you stack your BLD much faster, and you can use it in the marketplace for things like a whitelist spot on the Gen Zero Mint, which obviously that'll be closed up here in the next day. You can use it for actually purchasing ETH. You can purchase BLD tokens. You could even purchase right now. We have a wizard from Wizards and Dragons available in there. Like we have a whole bunch of stuff that you can actually get just for participating and claiming your BLD. And we even have like a daily claim or like a casino type place where you're playing games and you're just gambling. You don't really even have to participate. You just have to come in and gamble your coins. And if you do well enough, you'll slowly stack them up and get to the next level. So the factions really just provide depth to engagement. Like we have people just in there chatting all day long, or they pop in and they say whatever. They don't really participate, but the people that we do have that are participating are, in the factions, participating in the wars, whether they're invite contests or engagement contests on Twitter, or puzzles or games, or even marble races on Twitch streams. We do just about everything in there to keep people engaged, incentivize them to continue to come back to the community and stay within the game and the ecosystem. And honestly, because of all that, we've built a super, super strong community where people have a lot of pride in their faction. I mean, people will just like, when a new person comes in, you'll have 5 people being like, hey, join WAGME, no, join LFG, no, join. Well, and like it becomes very much like, people take pride in their faction and the color that they represent. So I am actually the leader of the elite bear of the WAGME faction, and Matt represents the LFG faction. So we get into some disputes over that, but it's good fun. The community loves it, and we really have. I mean, we've paid out like almost $4,000 in ETH just for people just participating and earning their BLD and then cashing it out for ETH. So it's been a really rewarding system.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Do you guys allow new factions to join? Could there be a Monkz faction that comes in and does some damage? Is that the way it works, or are you guys kind of keeping a stronghold on the number of factions that are allowed in the game as of now?
We haven't had actually a situation like that yet. Normally, what we've done is we've had members. Let's say if members of the Monkz were to come in, they join a faction among the server, and then
Yeah.
what we're looking to start right now is actually just doing like cross clan wars. So like we have 2 factions among our clan, and then maybe the
Yeah.
bears go to war against the Monkz, and the Monkz aren't a faction within our clan, but rather their own clan, and we would have some type of contest or something like that where we'll battle among the 2 clans. And we've looked at doing
Yeah.
this thing with the Llamaverse and with a couple other collections that we're collaborating with. So that's what we're currently exploring.
Yeah, I saw a question in here actually from someone from Llamaverse. Let me see if I can find it again here real quick. It was a pretty good one. But what's your vision for the project in 6 months, 1 year, and 3 years? So where do you guys see this going? This is a great question because this is one where you're going to be a little open-ended. We're not going to hold you to it, obviously, but we're going to hold you to it. So
Yeah, no, I think that I think so for me, and Matt's might be slightly different. We've talked down the line, but I don't know if we've gotten to 3 years out. But for me, you know, what I see is 6 months from now, we've got the game up fully operational. We've got some type of implementation of either a breeding or a mutation or something of that kind. Um, we've got all the bears, all the Gen 0 bears, the Gen 1 bears, the token generators, tree houses, all completely minted out. Everyone's earning their BLD. We've got a lot of different NFTs from partnerships within the marketplace. You know, the faction wars are booming. We've got large prize pools because that's another thing is the more that we scale and the game continues to grow, the larger the prize pools will become. And, you know, we can be competing for who knows how much ETH or BLD or NFTs or whitelist or whatever it might look like. So that's what I'm thinking 6 months from now, having some type of breeding or mutation going. That's already in the works, especially for the MetaPass holders. So the MetaPass price got up there pretty quick, but you know, if you guys are really looking to get involved with the ecosystem long term, I'd say definitely look at maybe snagging a MetaPass. You inherit all the BLD that it's earned thus far if you get it before the drop, and even if you get it after the drop, because there are going to be some people that hold on to it for the drop and then, you know, part ways with it after they claim all the BLD. They're going to be missing out on all the extra benefits of mutation, breeding, etc. that are coming. So then 1 year, I think 1 year we'll have another collection within the ecosystem, whether it be the BloodShed cats or the BloodShed dogs or whatever it might look like. They'll be yielding the same token, different rates. There'll be some type of either crossbreeding mechanism or some type of secondary currency that's introduced into the ecosystem to just further
Now
level
you're
up
talking.
the amount of things that you could do. And then my 3-year vision would be we've got a bunch of collections. It's a whole like, you know, like
Ecosystem.
widely adopted ecosystem. We've got cats, bears, dogs, apes, everything. We've got all these different different collections and breeds within the ecosystem. And then I think in the 3-year time frame, we have some type of player versus player. Maybe even in the 1 year, that might just be being ambitious, just with the way our developers are perfectionists and everything needs to be perfect before it's rolled out. But it's certainly by the 3-year timeline, some type of player versus player, more interactive earning style, and really like completely building out the faction wars. The Discord is fully integrated, the game and all the different collections, and maybe then there even becomes factions among the collections as well. So you not only have WAGMI and LFG, but you have
Yeah.
WAGMI cats and WAGMI bears and LFG dogs and this and that. So really just complicating and keeping the ecosystem very interesting and fun the whole time. I know, Matt, you've
Yeah.
probably got some other things I didn't mention, but that's my vision.
Yeah, like not certainly not too dissimilar. I mean, obviously we talk every day, so the visions are naturally aligned. I think, you know, certainly within a year's time frame, a lot of those things will be done. I mean, we're probably within the next 3 or 4 hours, the entirely redesigned website will go live, and that sort of talks a bit to those items and sort of rough guidelines around specific timelines and so forth. But look, everything that we do is going to be about rewarding long term, right? So that's why we're going to hopefully introduce, if we can, in time, a reward system for holding. So every single month you get a bonus tokens and those sorts of things. But I think the important takeaway though is we all know how fast the industry moves, and we have these overarching goals. You know, for me, BloodShed is going to be a phenomenal brand. That's the goal. That's the easiest thing that we can align to. What that looks
First of
like
all,
in 6 months.
The name is dope, so it's got a great brand already. So
thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Came through on that one.
We just don't know what's going to happen in 6 months, right? I mean, we sort of talked about that earlier. We've got a very clear, defined roadmap now for the next year, at least internally, and Parker talked to a lot of those things. But we also need to make sure that any plans we make allow the ability to change. Once you deploy a contract, you've deployed the contract. There's no changing that. And so we want to make sure that whenever we do things, we at least have the freedom to adapt to the industry as it adapts. But for sure, there's not too much dissimilar there to what Parker's articulated, and pretty pumped to get started with it, to be honest.
I was going to say too, there's, let me see. I'm just reading some of the questions here. Sorry, were you going to lead into something else? I didn't mean to interrupt you. That was actually terribly rude on my behalf.
I always tell people to interrupt me because I can talk too much. So feel free to interrupt. I never take it as rude. You're all good.
Okay. Yeah. No, I love talking about this stuff. But and we face this same question too. We have to ask this constantly. And we actually started letting our community. We didn't think our community was going to do as much as they did. You guys are probably going to experience the same thing, it sounds. But there's a lot of projects trying to achieve the same ecosystem. How do we stand out from them, right? What's the method? Like, what's the idea behind standing out from? Because I think you guys are very, how do I say this? Probably along the very same thought process of we were when we were launching. We saw everybody wanted to do a game, right? They wanted to gamify just the NFT experience. And then we saw everybody said, oh, well, we're going to, they raised a couple $1 million during their NFT release and through royalties. Then they say they're going to build a game, and then they all build on top of the same platforms. Now what you got is 15 versions of the same thing, right? So, if you had to say what was the one thing that made BloodShed Bears unique about the brand or the community or the culture, what is it, and what excites you guys the most about what we have yet to learn about BloodShed?
So you mentioned one comment there in terms of how you stand out, and I think this is something that I certainly talk about a lot. I prefer to just work and deliver rather than, and that's why everything we've done so far is pretty 99% organic, because what we don't ever want is a community that's artificially hyped that we've then got to deal with that, and that hurts real members, real investors, real people that are genuinely vested in the success of the project. So for us, it's just about delivery. That's how we always stand out. We'll try to get ahead of schedule as much as we can. We'll deliver, and then we'll announce what we've delivered, rather than, hey, we're going to do this, we don't do it, or hey, we're going to do that, and then we don't do it. So we'll figure it out, and then we'll deliver on that. And I think listening and watching, there's a lot of people might look at other projects and they either straight up copy, or maybe even they try to devalue what that project's done. I personally look at the really incredibly smart people that are out there with innovations, and if it's a great innovation, why not try to include something similar or our spin on that? And as we go along, we'll obviously come up with our own plans, like we have, like with the stacking and faction wars and those sorts of things. But we'll stand out through delivery. That's going to be the way we do things, and we always do things. In terms of why we love the BloodShed brand, it's fired up so many people in our community, and honestly, I just think delivering for a community, engaging with them, building a company from the bottom up versus top down, which is the sort of traditional method, is just what's exciting, and constantly delivering on a brand, but watching what happens and then doing the right thing by the community in planning things so that we can adapt in the future. Because there's really no point in planning something 6 months out and then still doing it just because we're stubborn, if that's not what the community wants anymore. So we have to be flexible, we have to adapt, and we just have to deliver constantly. And that's how I think eventually brand will become known as one that it's kind of a safe bet, and it's a fun place to be. It's a great experience. And look, if you're looking to get into something in NFTs, this is the brand that you can jump into. And there's a few of those around. And we want to try and hopefully with additional collections and sub-collections, constantly make it accessible. Because some big brands, some blue chips now are not accessible to the retail market that's inevitably going to be coming into the space. So I hope that answers your question.
More than answers it. Appreciate it. One other thing, just real quick. You guys are on ERC 1155, so I see some questions about gas. ERC 1155 is considered the golden standard of contracts, guys. It allows you to do batch functions, which you can't do in ERC 721's standalone contract. Well, you can. It's like Azuki came up with the ERC 721A. It's just basically batch functions without enumeration. So all ERC 1155 contracts tend to be far more efficient when you mint more than one token, right? So if you're minting multiple tokens at a single time, the batch contract batch mint and the batch transfer cuts down gas costs significantly because of that. So I wouldn't worry too much about gas costs on mint. Besides, gas is coming down. Most of the stuff is starting to level off a little bit, and hopefully we'll see some stuff come down to 10 or 15, 20%.
If I can just jump in, sorry for now being the one that's interrupting. I just want to make sure that this is clear. So the meta pass was at 1155 for obvious reasons. There will be some other tokens that, like buffs and so forth, that go in the marketplace that don't need complex logic, which will be 1155s. Yep. But the main collection, the Gen 0 bears, the Gen 1 bears, the tree houses, and the token generators, they are 721. The 721s, because they need to be just because of the logic in the game. Because you do have limitations on 1155s, such as token IDs and so forth. It's a lot more difficult to figure out who's done what. Certainly from what I'm being told anyway, the developers, and I may be misspeaking ever so slightly, but the main collection now that's dropping on the 21st, they are 721s. They're 721s for reasons that we have to have for the game. But yeah, the meta pass is 1155, super cheap. We were minting like 3 to 4 for like $12 at a time. It's a great token. We'll use it as and when we can, but there are some aspects that the 1155s provide some limitations on. So we will be using 721s, and obviously for generative art anyway, you sort of need to have individual tokens for the bears. So I just want to be clear on that because I didn't want everyone jumping into the mint on the 21st expecting 1155.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's all good.
So this is an interesting question, kind of pull off the technical side a little bit for some of the people who may not slaver over it like the rest of us. For Provoker, what was the most challenging aspect that you faced so far, and what has been the most unanticipated but rewarding thing you've seen in launching the project?
Yeah, I'll start on this one. For me, the most challenging thing I think has been really, well, first off, Matt and I being in completely opposite time zones, it's required a lot of trust from one another. And, we didn't have a prior relationship before this. As we've been building this whole thing, a lot of it has been based on him trusting that I'm using my time to continue to progress the project, and me trusting that he's doing the exact same and that everything is going to continue to pan out for us. So I think that was a difficult thing in the beginning for us, was just we were maybe getting, 6 hours of the day, something like that, 5 hours of the day where we were both awake. And a lot of the time, one of us had something else going on, as we both live real lives as well. Then I also think aside from that, it was really difficult for us to make the decision to move away from the conventional pumping the numbers route. Like we both had this predetermined notion that, if we didn't have X amount of Discord members, or we didn't have X amount of Twitter followers, or whatever, that, the project couldn't be successful. And I think it took a while for us to get to the point where we were like, let's just not focus on that. Let's just ignore it, deliver a quality product, take care of our community members, make them feel like they're in the right place, happy to be here, get them to return, get them to bring their friends back and tell everyone else, and we'll grow how we grow. And if it takes us a little while to catch on, it takes us a little while to catch on. But, some of the best connections that we've had, like, for example, with Llamaverse, NFT Llama just found us, like, I don't know how, but he said that he spoke with a friend and found us right after we sold out, and just wailed in and bought like 11 of them. And then the whole Llamaverse came in with him, and all of a sudden our floor price shot up and our volume shot up just like overnight. Like Matt and I, or I had gone to bed, or one of us had gone to bed. I don't know. We couldn't both be in bed because that's impossible. But one of us was going to sleep and woke up the next morning, and we were just like in a whole different level on the secondary and on the primary as well. We were minting, and then alpha groups got the word of what we were doing, and just all of a sudden, in a span of like a minute and a half, everything was gone. It was completely sold out. So just trusting one another and trusting the community and the process, and trusting that the industry finds the good projects. It does happen. If you're patient enough and you wait, people will find the project. And I think the most rewarding thing, which I believe that was the second part of the question, has been definitely for me being someone that's been involved with numerous projects at varying levels, obviously, but being someone that's been involved in numerous projects, to be able to look back and see that every single project that I've been a part of, has progressed nicely. And although I don't look at floor price and I don't like to use it as a metric, because it's not really a true metric of success. The floor price of every project going up, my community members from my first projects ever following me to wherever like my interest goes, or if I decide to work with a new project, or when I decided to partner with Matt and come on board of this and really, really get into this project, my whole community was like, let's do it. All right, we're BloodShed Bears. All right, BloodShed Bears, let's go. And now the Discord is packed with a lot of the same guys that I knew all the way from when I first started. So the most rewarding thing for me has been helping other people and genuinely providing value to my community, and then letting that community or seeing that community, I guess, reciprocate that trust back to me. And it feels great to know that I've built something so strong. And Matt's the same way with his connections and the people that he's known in the industry. I don't think there's anyone that has anything bad to say about either of us, which is just a great feeling as we build a community, knowing that there's no one that's disgruntled, or if there is, it's just because they had paper hands or they didn't understand the vision. Anyone that really buys into what we've provided in any space has been rewarded for it and is grateful and has provided awesome value to us in our community. So it's been an amazingly rewarding experience in the industry altogether for me. I'll turn it over to Matt and see what he's got to say about this.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge, and Parker's talked to this already, was probably exposure in the early days. I came into this newer in terms of, I built businesses and projects and all of that sort of stuff, but I had never built an NFT project before. So you take advice from people that maybe you shouldn't take advice from, and in the early days as you're learning, and just creating exposure or trying to meet what the industry wants at large in the early days. A lot of people want an overnight hype success. That's what everyone wants to see: 50,000 people in the Discord or 200,000 people in the Discord in the space of like an hour or two. And that wasn't really something that I wanted to participate in. So it was very difficult to, I guess, stay true to the path. We had lots of knockbacks in the early days. You had lots of projects that, hey, you've only got 1,000 people on Twitter. We're not going to talk to you guys. Or, oh, you've only got 3,000 people in your Discord. We're not going to do a collab with you, which is cool. I get it. But that was challenging just to bring the project up, especially in the market where we were launching. It was 6,000 ETH. It was no one was participating in NFT projects. Very challenging. And so the rewarding aspect is just looking at where we are today. And I think the most rewarding thing, if I can highlight two separate areas, is there were some people that were in the Discord very early and believed in us, grabbed a meta pass. We're talking some individuals that might have been their paycheck. We're not talking whales. We're talking individuals that believed in the founding team. And because of that, we've been able to reward them. And like Parker keeps saying, we don't look at the floor price, because we just want to deliver, and the floor will be a byproduct of the work that we do. But seeing people achieve some success in their life from the work that we're doing is incredibly rewarding. And the second part is we've built the team based on a lot of the moderation team, the community leadership team, based on individuals that have come into the project and have contributed. And we haven't gone out there and tried to find 10 paid mods from high-end projects or anything like that. We found people from the community and we brought them into the team. And I think that's been an amazing thing to see. And I'm constantly blown away by the work that the guys do. The project would not be where it is today without the team that we've got. And they came from the community. So it's just so rewarding that we can bring people up around us and with us and contribute to the success of everyone. And that's just, I'll go on about this all day long because it's just, you can't possibly find anything more rewarding than helping other people be successful.
Oh yeah, I think you'll find that kind of sits wholeheartedly in the lifeblood of this channel too. Our whole community is built off of that principle. Basically, it's been absolutely fascinating to see all this stuff happen. Do we have any more questions, guys? I think we've covered quite a bit. We've been on for quite some time, actually. Yeah,
Maybe
how long
we
have we been on? Yeah.
We've been on for an hour and 15, which is awesome. And I mean, if we got some more questions coming in, maybe while those questions are coming in, Chinter, if you want to, maybe we can start moving into the whitelist allocation. We can start explaining kind of how that will work while some other questions come in and we can finish those questions.
Sure.
Just real quick, I got to cut out real quick, guys. I'll be back in about 15 minutes. Is that okay?
Yep. Sounds
Sure.
good, brother.
Okay. All right. I'll be back. Hey, just want to say BloodShed, fucking awesome. Can't wait to talk to you guys. I'll hit you guys up here in a little bit. So thank you very much. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit.
That was a pleasure.
Thanks,
So,
brother.
guys,
And, all right. So BloodShed Bears. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna start going over the whitelist stuff, but no, go ahead. We can save that for later. We can save it till the end.
Yeah. I mean, the BloodShed Bears were gracious enough to allocate us 300 whitelist spots, and so we did it. And this might not be always how we do it, but what we were thinking is we wanted to do it in a way that obviously incentivizes the different roles that we have. And so one of the ways that we did that is we did for basically the way that we have it rolled out will be essentially based on the roles. So for the immortal role, 100% of the people that are immortal will get a whitelist allocation. For Buddha role, which is if you have 10 or more, 50% of you will be able to get an allocation. For the ascended role, 25% of you will be able to get allocation, and then the rest of the 200 or so will be allocated to the rest of the Monkz holders. Chinter, do you want to go over kind of how we're going to be taking those in?
Yeah. So I'm posting up a Google sheet right now in announcements. That will be open for 24 hours. Because I know this guy's mint is coming up here pretty quickly. So we wanted to make sure that we get that stuff over to them. Obviously they've given us 300 spots. Very, very gracious, and thank you guys very much for those spots. So, like Jang said, it's going to be based upon role. Immortals will all get whitelist. Buddhas will 50% will get whitelist. Ascended 25%, and then the rest of the holders. How we're going to do that with just a simple Google Doc is through the use of the beautiful, helpful robots that make our lives very easier. And we'll pull your role, and we will determine from there. So obviously, the people that are not immortals that won't be guaranteed a spot, how we're going to do that is once we extract all you guys and assign you to a column based on a role in a spreadsheet, we'll then randomize those through a wheel spinner like we used for the other giveaway for the 10 monks and the 1 super a week or so back. And those will be, like I said, randomized. So if you guys want me to do it on a stream, so you believe me, then yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. But that is how we will be handling those spots. So thank you again, BloodShed. 300 spots is super gracious of you guys. So I'm sure you'll be happy with the monks in your community.
Yeah, we're beyond excited. Matt and I have made a very, very, very strict point of trying to fill the community with the highest level people that we can, and just making sure that the ground floor, especially when we did the meta pass, and now as we build the Gen Zero, right, we're looking to build this community for years. So if we can get the strongest possible community members in here now, to lay the foundation. It lets us build obviously to higher heights. You can't build your foundation strong, you won't be able to build very tall. So we're very appreciative of the opportunity to come in here and talk with everyone today. We hope you guys got a lot of good information out of us. Um, Obviously, my DMs are always open. You can also hop into our server in the general chat, always ask whatever. We're happy to answer any more questions. If we don't have any more today, I'm not sure exactly how we're doing on time right now, but yeah, thank you guys so much, and we hope that all of you guys make your way over to the Bears and contribute to that community, and we can contribute a lot of value to you guys, and we also hope to see you on the battlefield in some Monk versus Bears war coming up here pretty soon. We'll have to iron out the details of that.
Absolutely, man. Really excited about you guys' launch. Happy that Monks will be well represented in that. This was awesome.
For you guys in the AMA questions, and we probably just address this real quick. Jang, Josh, I know PJ would probably be okay with it. You guys okay with just doing a snapshot of everybody that was in attendance, and then randomize the rest of them?
Yep, let's do that.
Cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. You guys are here, so makes sense to me, guys. Like I said, we try to do things based on you guys' feedback. So if we can do it, it's good to go. So
Let's do it.
what else do we got? Any other questions? I think that's it, guys. I think we're good.
Yeah, guys, I want to say thank you all. Also, just we had 120 people, up to 130 people in here for an hour and 15 minutes. I know in this world today, there's always a million things calling your attention. So we are grateful that we got all of your attention for this long. And yeah, if there's nothing else, we can sign off from here. But it was a pleasure today.
Much success to you all. Be
Thank you.
speaking.
Thank you for taking your time to come out. Appreciate you guys coming out here.
Thanks for having us, guys, and great to speak to you all, and look forward to seeing you soon.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys. Go ahead and close at the stage.
Thanks, guys.